Hi everybody. I'm going to show you this morning with my prosthesis here. I'm going to show you how I go about making my breakfast smoothie. It's usually the same every day. Sometimes it goes really smoothly, sometimes it's a little trickier, but I'm going to do it right in front of you today to show you exactly how I do it. As you can see, I'm starting with an empty table. I'm going to get everything. A few things I have sitting here because you won't be able to see me get them out anyway. So I'm going to start from scratch and we're going to do the whole thing. I'm going to try to explain to you as I go. Okay. I actually make my smoothie with a NutriBullet. So I need that thing there and all the accessories and stuff that go with that. The little ring to put on it after it's done so you can drink it, and obviously the blade mechanism thing there. So we're gonna start with that stuff there and getting that. Oh, actually, here's the actual NutriBullet. I'm gonna put that there today. To measure this stuff out, I use two measuring utensils every day. I use a half cup measure, which is right there. I use that to measure fruit. And I also have a 1 tablespoon measure that I use to measure peanut butter powder. So we'll get into that in a little bit. Now I'm going to get all the ingredients out for my smoothie. Most of it is fruit. So I'll use frozen mixed fruit. I also use frozen blueberries, okay? And then after that, then I also use a banana as well. Get my banana out. Use a banana, frozen fruit, frozen blueberries, and then kale. Kale is the greens that I use, okay? And then after all that stuff, then I use, like I said, I put this powdered peanut butter in it, and I also put this protein powder in it, okay? All right, that's all the ingredients, so now we're gonna assemble it. First things first, the banana. Banana always goes in the bottom. Sometimes when these get a little soft, they're tricky to get started. I try not to get it all over the prosthesis, but sometimes it happens. You know, this is a tough thing to do when you can't feel your fingers. It's hard to see. You know, it's hard to feel what they're doing. Try to do most of this visually. I just try to get it out of the skin, and then I try to just maybe break it in 2 or 3 pieces. Get it in the bottom there. See, now I did get it on the prosthetic, and I don't really like that, but for the sake of making breakfast, I'll clean them up after I'm done. Okay. Then I take clean up as I go. I take my banana peel. I compost. So I have a little compost bin here that I put my organic matter in. So I just pop that open and put all my stuff in there and put that back. Okay, now once the banana is in, then I start with the fruit. Now both these bags are in Ziplocs. This one is obviously a store-bought Ziploc. This is one that we buy the blueberries fresh and I freeze them. So these both involve Ziplocs, and so does the protein powder. These are usually pretty easy. I hope you can see how I'm doing this. Maybe let me try to get a little better so you can see how I'm doing this. it's pretty simple. This has a, you just got to separate the part right above the zipper. I just get it with my thumb and what I'm able to here with this grip right here. I just get it started right there, and boom, it's open. Okay, then let's get this back over here. Then I take my half cup, the half cup measure. Now I want 1 cup of fruit, so I got to take 2. They do this 2 times. So I just kind of dip in there, and I go 1/2 cup, and there's the other half cup. The only reason I measure it is because I am counting calories, and that's the serving size is 1 cup, so that's what I use. Okay, now to zip this back up, this is the part I really wanted you to see. To zip this back up, what I usually do, this is tricky when the bag is full because you don't have this room right here to try to get the zipper lined up. But as the bag gets emptier, you can feel on the end where it starts. I use my thumbs only to do this. I've been doing this since before I got my prosthetics, and I just found that this is the easiest way to do it. I tried to involve the prosthetics and rubber on a plastic bag. It just doesn't work. My thumbs do best. So I just get it started. You can feel it click, and I just slowly push it across. And you can hear it snap on the other end, and then come back across just to double check. And then you can see that it is closed. Yes. Okay. So we'll put that back in a second. Now the blueberries, same exact thing. This one is this is just a regular Ziploc freezer bag, not a store brand one. So same exact thing. Separate it right before the zipper. Get my thumbs in there and open her up just like that. Again, half cup measure. 1/2 cup serving is the blueberries. So I just take 1/2 cup and in there like that. Okay, then now I'm done with this one. So as I do this, I get rid of stuff so that way it clears the table off for me as I go. So we're gonna start putting stuff away. The half cup I'm done with, so that goes in the sink. You can't see that, no big deal. Now we're gonna close the Ziploc baggie with the blueberries. Now I do this the exact same way. This one you can see, it's easier because the blueberries are starting to get low. When the bag is full and you don't have a lot of room up here, the stuff falls out. You got to kind of hold stuff in while you're doing this. But as the bag gets emptier, it's easy. Same exact thing. Feel it on the end where it clicks in. I can feel it going across, and you'll hear it at the end. Well, you probably can't, but I can. And then I go back across just to be sure. And it is closed. Yes. Okay, so now we're done with the frozen stuff here, the fruit and the blueberries. So let's get that stuff put away. Oh, ice pack fell out. Okay, let's get that in there. We'll pick the ice pack back up. That goes up in there. My son was using that, I believe. Okay, we'll put that back in. So now we're done with, that's all freezer stuff. Now, we're going to put in later. Now we're going to put the kale in. Now the kale, I keep in a bag that has, if you can see it, it has this weird little thing on it. It has a little clip thing on the end there. You gotta open that up. So usually what I try to do is, when I have it laying on the table, it's easy. I just try to take my prosthetic and pop it open. You probably didn't see it. Here, let me do that again, a little higher. I don't believe you saw it. Close it up. Okay, I just take my prosthetic and push on that little thing right there, and it opens the bag. Okay? If you didn't see that properly, I'll show you that this is the closure. This is the closure, how it works here. This thing just kind of, oh my goodness, now I can't, because it's not on a bag, I can't close it. This thing just kind of clips right in there like, oh my gosh, geez. Wow, I'm really struggling here. Oh man. All right, well, anyway, there it goes. There, now it's clipped. Now you can see how it locks. Okay, so I just kind of pop that open with my finger. Anyway, okay, that's that. Now, put the kale in here. This, you don't really have much choice but to touch. I don't like to touch my food with my prosthetics because I go through my day with this. So I might be out in the garden, I'm gonna be in the yard, I'm gonna be in the bathroom, So I try not to touch the food with my prosthetics, but sometimes it's inevitable. You have to do it. I can do this without the prosthetics, but I'm making a video to show how I do it with the prosthetics. So in order to do this with the prosthetics, I either need to try to use a tongs or something to get it out, which to me is just very, very difficult and time consuming. This takes me enough time as it is. So for the sake of, I know it's my prosthetic. I kind of know where it's been, and this food is going inside my body. So I'm just going to reach in there and grab it, okay? It's not really that difficult to do. You just kind of grab a handful of it out, put it in there. I pack this pretty full when I do, because this is the actual, this is the vegetable part of the fruit and vegetable smoothie. And I always get it all over the table. Not all of it always goes in, but I just wipe the table off before I start it. So I know the table is clean, and I just pick it up. It's good practice anyway for me. It's good practice to learn to pick things up with my new prosthetics. So this one is a little trickier. This is the one I just got. I'm still really learning with the left hand, but the right one I do pretty well with, okay? So there we go. Now there's my kale. Now I keep this little piece of paper towel there just to absorb the moisture in the bag so it doesn't get rotten. Okay, now I'm gonna have to open this thing back up because this is my bag closure. So I'm going to do it the easy way here and just use my thumb and pop it open. All right. I'll just kind of squeeze a little of the air out of the bag and then put this thing back around it. And pop it closed there. Easy as that. Okay, now back in refrigerator. Oops. In there. Okay. So now, like I said, I always get a couple little pieces of kale here, and I do pick them up every day just simply because I don't really want to throw them away because I know they're mine, and it's good practice for me. It's good practice for me to, to pick things up because, as you can see, I don't have an index finger on here, so I'm restricted on this hand to gripping with my actual ring, or no, I'm sorry, my middle finger. So it's good practice for me to to pick little things up like that. So there we got all the kale picked up and in there. Now this is all that's left, and these are actually the trickiest ones. This is what gives me the most trouble, so I'm gonna save that for last. The peanut butter powder it's just a big thing you can see with a lid that screws off. I don't do anything special to get this lid off. It's not very difficult to get off. I'm the only one that uses it, so I put the lid on. I don't put it on very tight, so I just kind of hold it and just kind of use the palm of my hand to twist and then I use my thumbs, and there it is. It's open. Now this is what we need the 1 tablespoon measure for, because I'm going to put serving size for the peanut butter powder is 2 tablespoons. So I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of this in, and then we're going to get into the protein powder. So this here, I just kind of shake it over to one side and put the thing in, and then shake off the excess. I don't get too crazy about it. It's, I don't try to smooth it off on the edge or anything. I look at that, that's a good teaspoon right there. And I'm going to put another one in anyhow. So if the other one gets a little bit bigger, then it's not a big deal, So, okay, there's the second one. So there's the protein powder goes in. Okay, off to the sink again. We're done with that. Okay, now lid back on, basically the same thing. Put it on there, just kind of use my palm to tighten it up. And then once I get it snug, I don't incorporate my prosthetics in opening and closing jars or bottles or anything really at all. Actually, I have a really cool doodad over there to open jars. I'll use that to open this after I blend it. I will get that out. There, the peanut butter, the lid's on the peanut butter. So now put that back up in here. Now this one sometimes gives me a little bit of trouble. This one also is a zip bag, but this one has a very small area to grab a hold of here before you get to the zipper. It's got a very small area. You know, when you cut it open, it cuts real close to the zipper. So this one, I've learned another technique with these is instead of trying to separate it at the zipper, just like that. That's to me is easier than trying to separate it at the zipper. The one thing I did find out with these protein powder bags though is if you do that, after I do that a couple of times, it will actually tear the zipper off the bag. So then I need to fold it over and put a clip on it so it stays, closed and fresh. This is the scoop for the protein powder. Now this stuff is kind of pricey, so I get enough protein throughout the day. The serving size for this is actually 2 scoops of this, but I only use 1 because I maintain my I get the rest of my protein throughout the day. So once I get it open, which is the tricky part, then I scoop down in it. And this one here, I'd like to try to use the side of the bag. If you can see, use the side of the bag and try to push the powder down into the scoop. Because I do want to get the full scoop here. So there, I got it. That's pretty packed solid. Actually, that's a real good one right there. Okay, and boom, we'll put that. Make sure it doesn't fall out over the edge. Okay, that's that. Now this one here, same exact thing. Lay it down, get it started right on the edge, get it started, and follow it across. Yep. Easy peasy. Yep. And that's the last to go away. Now we're gonna now we're gonna put some water in it, we're gonna put the lid on it, and we're gonna blend it. Now this is where it gets tricky. I use filtered water in a Brita filter, so I'm gonna get that out of here. And sometimes this thing acts a little silly, so I like to make sure that there it goes. All right, so we need to pour a little water in right till it gets up to the fill line. You gotta pour slow because that powder laying right on the top, it rolls right over that powder. It doesn't absorb right away. So you go right up to the fill line right there, okay? And I always let that sit there because sometimes it gets a little thick and I need to add a little more just to make it a little, to make it a little thinner. So this right here, putting the lid on that, the blades mechanism on this is the hardest part of the whole thing. Getting it back off is easy. Getting this on and getting it tight so that when you blend it, it doesn't leak down into the NutriBullet. Doing that with these prosthetics on, I find very, very difficult. It's tough to do without the prosthetics on as well. It's no harder either way. It's just a difficult task. So to show you how I do it, it's oh geez, not like that. Yeah, you don't want to start like that. That was bad. I'm gonna rinse that off real quick. I sincerely apologize for that. That was really bad. Okay, here we're gonna try again. Now I have it all wet. Now it's really gonna be tricky. Let me get a towel. Dry it off. As we're screwing this one, I'm gonna have to dry it off. So, okay, back to business. What I do is I just use like this grip here until I get it threaded. See, you can't push down on this and thread it because it's got a rubber seal in there, and when you push that rubber seal down against the container, it gets real tight, and you think it's tight because you're creating friction there. So you can't use this like that to tighten it up. It does not work. I've learned my lesson a couple of times. So what I do, real simple. I straighten the fingers on my prosthetics and I grip it like this, and I just use my thumbs to get it, to make sure that it's seated down against, so that the rubber on the lid is seated down against that. Once I can't twist it with my thumbs anymore, now I gotta dry it off because we're gonna have to get it. Now we have to tighten it up a little bit. So in order to tighten it up, I need that dry. So now I have it. Can't get any more out of it with my thumbs. So now what I do is I just kind of brace it against my forearm, and now I use that downward pressure and twist just to see if I can get any more out of it, which I am getting a little bit out of it. Okay. Then I flip it over and see there's water running out of it. That's just because I rinsed it off. Sometimes I even give it a little tap. Give it a little tap on the table just to see if it's not seated properly. That tap will make sure that it loosens the lid, and anything that's going to leak will leak. If I see that anything's leaking out of it after I tap it, then I know I need to tighten it just a little bit more. So, okay, it looks like we're on pretty good there. Let's dry the table off here. Okay, so now this is going to get loud when I run this thing. It gets crazy loud, especially when you're on film or on camera like that. So this thing here, you just put it, make sure it sits down in on the teeth in the NutriBullet, and here we go. About 20-30 seconds. That's all it takes. Okay. No leaking inside the bullet, so I know that the thing is on tight. Now I'm gonna get that thing. I should have brought this over before I started. I apologize. This thing here is cool. This is what I use to take the lids off of jars. You can see it's got this rubber right here, and then on the other side it's got no rubber. So I'll show you how it works. I take my bullet and I put it in there, and now same thing. Just this pressure right here. I don't want to push down. I'm twisting, and I'm using that rubber in the. That's what I'm going to use for my resistance, is the rubber in this rubber in here. Okay, so I take it till it catches and twist. Once it gets loose, then you can take it out of there and loosen it up the rest of the way. All right. Now you can see it's blended. Yep. Oh my goodness. It's blended, and I have a mess on the floor I'm going to have to clean up, but we'll do that after we're done here. I'm not going to stop again. Okay, it's blended, and I just put this ring on because the threads here, if you don't put this ring on, then the stuff runs down through the threads. It runs down my chin, so I just put this little ring on. Same thing as with the blades. I just take it until it's done, and I just give it a little twist with my, just so that I know that it's on there. And there's my breakfast smoothie. That's how I do it. If anybody has any other, I hope this helps people.